Steroids, nebulizers, inhalers and puffs. Talk to any parent in the Delhi NCR region and you'll know that these strong medications are being taken by children as young as 2. It's been normalized now. This is the price that we're paying for progress. Air pollution is truly taking a toll on our health. Now this is what we see. What we really are unable to see is the slow but steady rise of cases of COPD or chronic obstructive pulmonary disorders in many Indian cities. This week's episode of Health 360 is going to talk about lung health. I'm Sneha Mordani. A lung threat called COPD. This has become way common than what you and I could imagine. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder is making its patients very, very weak and frail. It's making breathing almost impossible. Our top story today is in collaboration with the India Today magazine. Take a look. For years, air pollution makes headlines, but only when we cross the hazardous levels, which is in peak winter months. The problem is a year-long one, and the repercussions are now being felt. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD, is becoming more prevalent than ever in India. This is a lung disease, and the cases have beyond multiplied in the last 3 decades.
For a person to get obstruction of the airways, it takes decades. And to document that obstruction, one has to do a spirometry. That is, one blows into a machine, and machine gives the parameter that this much obstruction has occurred. So it takes almost years for that stage to come. So therefore, that's the reason that COPD has recognized quite late.
So what really causes COPD? Regular exposure to throat irritants causes inflammation and obstruction in the airways. When the obstruction gets severe, breathing becomes difficult. This condition is known as COPD. While smoking has traditionally been the most common cause of COPD, data shows that 48% of COPD deaths were due to non-smoking causes in India. Air pollution is the second most common cause.
Increasingly, the people who have never smoked seem to be developing COPD. The person is at higher risk of getting COPD if he or she migrates to New Delhi. Now this speaks volume about the national capital, where air pollution levels are constantly rising.
There is no cure in medical science for COPD. Once the COPD occurs, you can control it, treat it, manage it. So therefore, it is important to understand this disease, which was 6th leading cause of death some time back. Now it has become 3rd leading cause of death. So it's a very serious, concerning problem. It not only reduces the quantity of life in terms of lifespan, but what is called as age-adjusted life years are also reduced. It has immense impact on economy as also output of an individual.
Several studies show that toxic air greatly increases the risk of developing COPD. Here's what the symptoms look like. Breathlessness is a major symptom. Doctors say there are less obvious signs as well. Weakness is a sign. Weakness in doing activities you were used to is a sign. Pain in the limbs, excess mucus production, chest congestion, frequent chest infections, and chronic persistent cough. Like in the case of 55-year-old Sunil Gupta, who was diagnosed with this. A smoker for years, his symptoms were classic symptoms of COPD.
So when he came to me for the first time, he had appearance of a person who was short of breath. His face was a little red, and he was walking with, even in walking from gate to the chair, he was feeling short of breath. Okay, he was pursing his lips a little bit, and his chest looked enlarged anterior posteriorly. He seems to have a little less muscle in his arm. All these things were visible on a inspection only.
काफ़ी टाइम खांसी रही, तो जब 1-1.5 महीने खांसी रही तो फिर थोड़ा सा सांस फूलना भी शुरू हो गया, और जैसे मौसम चेंज होता था तो फिर भी 1-1.5 महीना खांसी वगैरह, कफ वगैरह। तो इस तरह से धूल से भी मुझे एलर्जी शुरू हो गई थी। पहले तो डॉक्टर्स ने मुझे मेडिसिन्स पे ही चेक करके मेडिसिन्स पे ही रखा। 15 दिन बाद फिर प्रॉब्लम्स जब कफ एंड कोल्ड ख़त्म नहीं हुआ, खांसी वगैरह, तो उन्होंने फिर मेरा पीएफटी कराया। मुझे आइडिया था एक्चुअल में, फिर मैंने शुरुआत में तो मेरी स्मोकिंग छूटी ही नहीं। अभी मैंने 2-3 साल पहले ये छोड़ दी है, बाकी इसी की वजह से था मुझे इसको।
The biggest challenge in dealing with patients suffering from this infection is timely diagnosis.
When you start getting little bit of shortness of breath while walking, your usual activities, supposedly you are walking 5 kilometers and then you start feeling breathless on walking 5 kilometers, don't ignore it. See your doctor, diagnose it, specifically people who are smoker or who have exposure to some fumes, smoke, the people who work in buses, or somebody who is exposed to diesel. Some goldsmiths, they have direct exposure to that, to melt the gold, they are directly exposed to smoke. Or even the ladies in the house who are exposed to passive smoke.
Medicines are needed to reduce inflammation and mucus in the airways. For treatment, these medicines could be lifelong. Wear masks and air purifiers when air pollution levels worsen. Avoid outdoor exercise is what doctors say. Psychological counseling is often recommended to reduce stress. So what is the government of India doing about this? Aware of the citizenry gasping for breath, the union government is pumping in funds worth almost 6,900 crore to the National Clean Air Program. NCAP has 131 cities in its purview. The goal is to reduce pollution by 20 to 30% by next year, keeping 2017 as the base year. The task at hand is enormous. A December 2022 analysis shows worrying trends. Delhi is found to be the most polluted since last year, with an annual average PM 2.5 concentration of 99.71 UG M3, which is 2.5 times the safe limit of 40 UG M3 set by the Central Pollution Control Board. Most of the least polluted cities in 2019 also saw air quality levels and rankings dip in 2022. Mumbai was one example. Since November, the city saw 36 days with poor AQI, the highest ever in the past 4 years as per CPCB. It hasn't had a single day of satisfactory air quality since October 2022. As far as managing COPD on a day-to-day basis is concerned, it involves steps that are very similar to COVID. With Sonali Acharji for the India Today magazine and Simranjeet Kaur, Sneha Mordani in Delhi for India Today. Warrior moms are going all guns blazing against pollution to secure a better and a healthy future for their children. Now this report is going to give you a sense of what exactly pollution is doing to our children in Delhi NCR and many other Indian cities. This report is going to be an eye-opener. Take a look.
Cases are becoming from bad to worse, and the government is doing everything on paper, but I don't see anything happening on the ground.
It's very harsh on them, and it's very hard for the parents to see them going through this. And it's an emergency situation in Delhi.
It's even thinner than the hair, and it goes into your lungs and how it damages your system.
Fighting for years against an invisible but deadly enemy, warrior moms have been at war against air pollution. Warrior Moms is a collective of mothers from all over India fighting for children's right to breathe clean air. The mission? To create a society where clean air, a basic human right, is accessible to all, especially children, for a healthy and productive life.
So it's very important that every violation must be reported. If we don't report and we kind of, just kind of converse with each other or put it on a Facebook or a WhatsApp, it just gets lost because the authorities will never know and we will never be able to make them accountable. If we really believe that yes, even as you and I speak, our lungs are getting damaged, our children's lungs are getting damaged, then, or this is the toxicity and the poison that our children are breathing, that means we have to jump into the fire.
A few years ago, frightening photos of blackened lungs emerged as lung surgeons tried to get the attention of the country to the alarming issue of air pollution. Imagine being told your child has the lungs of a smoker. That is the reality of most Indian cities. Delhi is not alone. Amrita, a warrior mom herself, says that her 2-year-old child has been at the receiving end of air pollution.
I have 2 kids, age 7 and 2. They have been on the nebulizer since last November. We get a respite for 1 week in the middle, then again they are coughing, throwing up, and the pediatrician says this is some sort of viral coming in the air, but clearly it is pollution. I won't even say that 90% of the kids were unwell, 100% of the kids were unwell this year. And it's very tough. They are growing, their lungs are being formed. For how long are we going to survive like this in this city? Why isn't anything being done? This is an emergency situation. How long are they going to be on medication? The older people are also suffering. So it's everywhere.
Her daughter, Banya, just 2 years of age, has repeated bouts of asthma attacks and lung infection. And she has been on nebulizers, sometimes even 3 times a day. Sangeeta's son Shiv has had numerous bouts of bronchitis as well. On the day we met Sangeeta, Shiv had missed school again.
So basically my son is going to turn 14 and the struggle has been of the entire family. And since he was 2, we've been struggling with this problem. And he's had to give up his game. He's excellent in soccer. And he's had to give up his game because it's a winter month game and he couldn't step outdoors to, play. And it's been really unfortunate. His academics also suffer because so many times he has to take an off because of his health.
Warrior moms have been waging a war against air pollution for years now. And the battle is still going on. As awareness around air pollution and lung ailments grow, the hope is that the society as a whole should come forward to combat this on a war footing.
Most of the people come to you with cough and expectoration, dyspnea on exertion, which is increasing over a period of time, and wheezing. People do get seasonal symptoms also.
Studies show 1 in 3 Delhi kids have impaired lungs. 35% children in India suffer from poor lung health. A holistic solution is the only way forward.
The challenge here with air is that air is not visible. So you tend not to believe it. But it's every parent, every relative, everyone, every citizen has to fight for this because it affects everyone. Also the politicians, also the parliamentarians, also the journalists, media, everyone is getting affected.
It's becoming, each year the pollution is becoming from bad to worse. But I wish that they would take some action because this generation, the coming generation and our future generation is totally at risk.
First of all, I feel that we should just not think that the government is going to do everything about this. We also have to find solutions, come out with, we know the problem. We have to look at maybe better transportations, do carpooling. We have to see fossil fuels, coal is being burned, try and use solar energy. On our part, whatever we can do, which are smaller things.
It is not just impacting your lungs or making breathing difficult. There is enough evidence and more to show that air pollution is actually causing a lot more damage than we actually know or talk about. For example, from impacting an unborn child to leading to dementia. There's a link now that has been established. Clearly, air pollution in our country is assuming epidemic proportions. It is not just your eyes that are watering or the disgusting stench of smoke in the air. It is not just the breathing difficulties you face at this time of the year. Long-time exposure to air pollution kills you silently, and this has been documented. Delhi NCR's air quality continues to be in the very poor category as the region's average air quality index stayed above 350. And it is not just Delhi. Most Indian cities have air which is not worth breathing. Here is why an air quality index of over 100 should alarm not just you but also wake political decision makers from their slumber. It has gone way beyond worsening asthma and reducing lung capacity. Air pollution has reached the womb. Scientists find pollution is reaching babies in the womb and slashing boys' future sperm counts. Air pollution is leading to heart attacks.
Increasing levels of pollution have harmful substances which then go into the lungs and from the lungs diffuse into the arteries. We have a higher risk of increase of 2% risk of admissions from heart attacks, admissions from heart failure, admissions from stroke.
There is a possible link of air pollution with dementia. The Journal of Neurology says researchers have found the risk of dementia increased by 3% for every 1 microgram per cubic meter increase of fine particulate matter. It's no secret that pollution is reducing life expectancy. Air pollution is currently shortening the life expectancy of people in Delhi by 10 years, according to a new report from the University of Chicago. It is no secret that increase in air pollution has taken an extraordinary toll on both the quality and longevity of life in India. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today. Air pollution isn't just a winter problem. You could be thinking that once the winters are over, the problem of air pollution also gets over. The fact of the matter is that there is enough data and more to show that not just winters, air pollution is actually a perennial problem. And also it's a myth that Delhi NCR region is actually most polluted. Most Indian cities have filthy air. And this is actually very, very true to the Indo-Gangetic Plain. Take a look.
In the wake of the air quality index reaching severe category in Delhi,
धुंध और धुएं के कॉकटेल ने एक बार फिर से दिल्ली की हवा को बेहद खतरनाक स्तर पर पहुंचा दिया है.
Schools will remain shut, but only from 1st to 8th standard.
The air quality index right now here is 197.
Some restrictions might just be lifted, is what we've been given to understand. All the spotlight on Delhi and its annual headache, air pollution. But to think that Delhi's air is breathable throughout the year and worsens only during Diwali and during winters is naive. This is a problem throughout the year.
Throughout the year, the city has polluted air, whether it is poor or very poor or severe. Right now we are going through very poor, severe and severe plus category. So that's why the air pollution is visible. But during winters also we have very poor air quality. So this city, frankly speaking, across the year has some of the worst air quality in the world.
Day after day, we are breathing in dirty, polluted air. While there was a downward trend following the national lockdown during the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, air pollution is now back with vengeance. India today has accessed the 5-year daily and monthly data to analyze how the situation has gone from bad to worse over the years, with the exception of the lockdown. These are figures January to May, when no one is talking about pollution. What is worrying is that so far this year, Delhiites have not experienced even a single day of good air quality. This year also saw the lowest number of satisfactory and moderate days in the last 5 years. 2020 was the best in terms of air quality, and that can be attributed to the national lockdown. Particulate matter, or PM 2.5, is the most talked about pollutant at this time of the year. But the fact is that there are way too many pollutants and many sources of these pollutants that actively contribute to air pollution in Delhi, NCR and many other cities actually throughout the year. For example, in summers, in Delhi, ozone pollution is the most deadly kind of pollution.
The worry in this city today that in addition to the particulate levels, we also have these other gases that are raising their ugly heads, and ozone is one of them. And ozone is relatively a bigger problem during summer, but it's combustion sources that are very important today, and they are contributing much more, and they are more toxic, and they are not only toxic particles but also the toxic gases. So we have to take a more holistic approach, and we have to address this as a multi-pollutant and a multi-sector problem.
Experts say that overemphasis on vehicular pollution and stubble burning will not help the situation, given that pollution is a year-long problem.
The landfill, the mountains of waste that we have in the city, so many of them. So they also catch spontaneous fire. So the methane emissions, and they are, you can see on fire.
Also, while Delhi is in news for all the wrong reasons, the fact is that the city has company and is just one amongst the many towns and cities in the Indo-Gangetic Plain battling air emergency. For example, Kanpur and Muzaffarnagar in UP, Baghpat, Vrindavan, many of these towns and cities are extremely polluted.
Now, unless and until you have this narrative going across Indo-Gangetic Plain, where states can come together and work, and mind you, this pollution problem will not be solved without a cooperative arrangement between states, because each state is polluting each other right now.
It is clear that conversations around air pollution, solution hunting, has to be a year-long process, not just a winter one. Pollution isn't a winter problem. In New Delhi, Sneha Mordani for India Today. That's all we could pack in this edition of Health 360. We hope you enjoyed watching the show as much as we did putting it together for you. We also hope you found it informative. Until next time, thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.